welcome to Sports Counsel, your playbook for all things sports. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm here with G and Bryant for this episode of the show. Another exciting weekend of playoff football is in the books, and our Final Four is set. We give our reactions to the results of the Divisional Round, including what went wrong for the Bears and what the Bills will do next. Plus, we preview and predict the upcoming conference championship matchups. Today is January 20th, 2026, and this is episode 205 of the show.
Well, fellas, we're getting close to the end here, man.
Yeah, it sucks. It just occurred to me a couple days ago that, 3 football games left the entire season. It kind of just creeps up on you because we've been having 2 weekends full of just playoff football every Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then now it's just 2 and then 1, and that's it for 6 months.
Well, dang, hope we're getting ready for a great finish of the season then, because it's sure been a wild one.
I don't know if we are. I think some injuries have kind of have kept us away from the ultimate end of a great season. You know what I mean?
Well, if you like that,
Sure.
we have 18 weeks. We're going to get an 18-week season and 2 preseason games apparently coming soon, according to Robert Kraft. So stay tuned for that. Just going to overload football until we pop.
Yeah, until players can't play.
Yeah.
I think he also said he wants every team to play an international game. So at least 16 international games. That's I don't know. That's a whole other dimension to the game.
Everybody plays 2 Thursday night football games. Let's just have that.
2 Thursday night football games in, I don't know, Lithuania, Russia, our suggestions from the other episodes,
Game, Thursday night football. Oh my Lord. Insane. Well, we are Sports Counsel. We got a packed agenda, lots to cover here. But before we get to that, G, where can the people find Sports Counsel?
It'd be my pleasure, Matt, to tell the people where they can find Sports Counsel. So open up your phone, open up your laptop, even your iPads, go to your favorite social media webpage, app, whatever they call it nowadays. You're going to sign in. You're going to hit the search bar. You're going to look for sports and then _counsel, 2 words, and even ChatGPT recognizes it. So if you need help, ask ChatGPT for some help there. Then you're going to go ahead and hit follow. You're going to put the notifications on so you can see when the pod drops. You get all the latest updates and our reactions to everything. And then in the bio, you're going to have a Discord link. Go ahead and also join that for free. That's the best part. And in there, we'll have our discourse of all fun things that happen, especially right now with coaching hirings, coaching firings, and everything in between. So best place to be. Love talking about whatever happens in sports and the Discord. So get there and then join the social media, sports _counsel. Couldn't be easier. Right, guys? We're on ChatGPT. We made it, right?
We made it when the AI can recognize us, I guess. Guys, follow the TikTok, sports _counsel. Exciting things are coming up with that one. And obviously join the Discord. 3 games left. We will be watching and reacting in the Discord accordingly. So definitely check it out. All right. Let's start with the divisional round reactions here. There are, I think overall, the weekend of playoff football was pretty good. There's one game that, we won't talk about in this show. Not ready yet. Maybe a little bit later. But we're not going to talk about the Niners game, guys. Sorry about that. Sore subject. Plus, I don't think there's not a lot to say there right now.
I'm sorry, Matt. I hope you're doing okay these days. We'll be watching over you.
No, I'm not, but thanks for asking.
And then the icing on the top, I know it's a football episode, but damn, we lost Jimmy too, man.
Not a fun time to be a Bay Area sports fan. That's all I got to say. Just in the last 48 hours alone. So, either way, let's talk about other depressing franchises for a second. Let's talk about the losers of the other divisional rounds and kind of just react to some of the games here. Let's start with the latest game of the slate, which was the Bears-Rams game. Guys, first of all, hell of a game. I think this was probably the best game of the entire weekend. And I think there's 2 things to, people are going to talk about with this game is the first thing, the incredible throw from Caleb Williams on 4th and goal, I believe. I still can't believe, honestly, that was completed. or even in the area. I thought he was throwing it out of bounds. I thought he was just throwing it away at a certain point. I have no idea how that stayed in bounds. I had no idea how Cole Kmet got open. Do you have anything to say about that? Like, I feel like it's one of the best throws ever. And it's weird to say.
I mean, I was screaming. Like, there was like a split second before he threw the ball after he ran like 40 yards of direction where I was like, oh, wait, is this about to be a vintage Caleb moment? The ball was in the air. The dude caught it, just screaming. Woke up the whole house, woke up the whole neighborhood, man. That was just an unreal play.
That was probably the best throw I've seen that's been completed in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, everything given, that was probably one of the greatest throws.
Yeah, I thought the whole thing was cooked. And I know that, like, there were the comparisons early on when Caleb was coming out. They were like, oh, he's going to be the next Mahomes. And I've never really believed that. But I was like, that's the play where it's like, okay, I can see it now. I can see it.
I mean, I saw it last week as well. I mean, that Packers game was probably one of the top 5 greatest throws. Going left in between 4 defenders for the game, basically. Oh, again, just high leverage throws. It's very Mahomey, as Chris Collinsworth would say.
Yeah, but he aligned his body on that throw. I have no idea how he even got this throw off. It's
because his nails are painted and he could throw the ball further.
It's his arm strength, man. Those nail superpowers. He can just flick a ball 50 yards, no problem. That's his God-given talent.
Yeah. But of course, we have to talk about how the Bears lost, because ultimately it's all for naught. They did lose in overtime. The thing is, the Bears had the ball in overtime. They were the second team to receive it. So now any score basically would have won the game, right? And they were driving, I think they were at the 40-yard line, maybe in their own territory. So they needed maybe 25 yards left. And then Caleb throws this ball and it's intercepted by Cam Curl. It was pretty deep as well. And I think there's a lot of controversy with this one. So I want to kind of break it down with you guys here. Who do you think the fault lies on for that one? Because we always have to blame someone here. Is it Caleb? Is it DJ Moore? Is it Ben Johnson for calling that?
No, I think the blame has to be on Caleb. And I know, Bryant, you're probably not going to agree with this because, USC homer.
I'm shaking my head, man.
Yeah, I already knew you were. But the blame is there. I understand the guy receiver didn't run the right route and whatever. They said there was some confusion on that play as it just installed it this week and they were running it. Whatever. That happens. The game was in overtime. You're the quarterback. You need to understand it's 2nd and 8. I don't need to force this right now. That's on you. The coach isn't making that read. The coach isn't making that throw. Though, yes, maybe DJ Moore could have ran a better route, but it's not that serious. You can not run the best route every single play, and it's football. That's how it works. The quarterback can just decide, hey, I don't see him running full speed. I probably shouldn't throw him the ball 2nd and 8, or maybe I should throw a check down, or maybe I should just run around like I always do. At one time, he decides I'm going to sit in pocket and just look for DJ Moore and just fling it regardless if he's open, running the right route, the down and distance, the point of the game it was. They have the ball after getting a stop in overtime. You don't need that. You need 3 points to win the game. That's on the quarterback to recognize, and that's why I give him the most blame.
I've thought about this a lot. I spent an entire night on Twitter just looking at, everyone just trashing on the Bears, everything like that. I do think Caleb deserves part of the blame too. I do agree that, making ultimately comes down to him to throw the ball. And of course, DJ Moore for the lack of effort there. I think just looking at the game totality, I would point the finger more at the Ben Johnson route. I felt, and of course, I know the Bears, Ben Johnson being him, they wanted to be aggressive, right? Just given how good the Rams were. I feel like it was too much aggression a bit on Ben Johnson's part. He went on fourth down. He went for it on fourth down a lot of times. It didn't go successful. He had another Caleb pick on the fourth down earlier in the game there. And on the play, on that final play for the Bears there too, I feel like, was that the right play to call, right? Oh, gee, that's a good point. They just need that field goal. Could have gone for a more conservative play call, right? They had the momentum all the time there. Did you really need to really need to call a play where Caleb has to throw the ball, 25 yards down the field there too? That's really more enough that you need. So I think in the moment there, I actually honestly would agree, a lot of it is on Caleb for making a better call there. But I think just looking at the game as a whole, I'm looking at, Ben Johnson's decisions there, going for it a bit more often than he needs to.
Yeah, and 3 things about the Bears' loss here. So 1, bad throw by Caleb. it was not on target, and I will give him some blame on that. But 2, I think you're underselling the DJ Moore route a little bit here, G, because he's jogging. He's jogging in overtime in a sudden death playoff atmosphere to go to the NFC Championship for the first time in 16 years for the Bears. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and it's when you look at the replay, it's very close.
But if you see the guy not running the route, why are you still throwing him the ball? That's what I don't understand. Like, if I see you 10 yards in not running the route, it's like you just got to look off of him. Like, I get the receiver didn't run the right route. Like, he didn't run it full speed. It doesn't matter what happened. Just don't throw him the ball then. It's 2nd and 8.
I think the play was that it was kind of an option route where if DJ Moore saw the safety coming down, he'd kind of stretch it out. And if he wasn't coming down, he'd flatten the route a little bit. And
I agree.
I think that what Caleb saw was he probably made the wrong read here, and he kind of threw it a little bit further than even DJ Moore would have been able to get it. So I do agree with that. And I think that he overthrew it. If you're DJ Moore, though, you have to kind of sprint a little bit more, get a little bit further. You have to, it's on him still because he has to give it his all here at this point. Like, if you're not giving it your all, if you're not trying to force the safety, because if he made the route a little bit faster, maybe the safety would have reacted a little bit differently. Now he has time to be able to react and to get that ball. So, I don't know. I was pretty mad at DJ Moore. I feel like more of the blame is on DJ Moore because if you look at the replay, if he was running at full speed, I think he could have done something. Like Puka Nacua, he broke up a play in the end zone with the Panthers with the interception. Maybe if he was there, he could have done a little bit more there. Because I don't think he even caught it the first time, right? He bobbled it, I think.
It was really secured it. It was really close. My first immediate thought after that play was what is DJ Moore doing there, right? You can at very least forcing that incompletion there. I think that was very I don't think Moore would have caught the ball, but forcing that incompletion, keeping that drive alive, I think that was the most likely outcome if he had put in, a normal amount of effort on that play.
Yeah, bad decisions, that happens all the time. And I'll give grace a little bit to it. I can't excuse bad effort. I can't excuse bad effort.
He's the quarterback. He's the one that it always comes down to quarterbacks.
And it will be a bad decision, and I give him that blame.
But you can't give Caleb all the fucking credit when he runs 30 yards backwards and then throws the perfect pass at the end of the overtime or end of the fourth quarter to send the game to overtime. And then when he makes a stupid ass decision of throwing the ball to a guy who's not even running, then give him no blame for that.
I'm not giving him no blame for it. I'm saying that there is blame for it. The pass would not have been completed. I don't think so because the throw was too off at that point.
Yeah, so that's what it comes down to.
Again,
you need bad throw, bad read.
I blame the guy with the bad effort. I will always blame the guy with the bad effort more than the guy with the bad decision because it happens. That happens. You willingly chose to not put in effort. That's worse.
And tying this back to Ben Johnson a little bit, not that this is a bad thing, but I feel like from what I've seen was this Bears offense, right? A lot of the throws that Caleb makes, a split second of timing. So many passes, right? The great passes that Caleb has made this year, is in between all these defenders, fingertips. There's that one highlight. He gets so many highlights this year. But I feel a big part of the offense are these timing throws where you have to get the timing, the speed, and the personnel just right. And it's a great pass there. And if it's just a split second off, things like this happen when it goes for the pick there too. So, and I haven't really anything to blame. I think just the nature of their offense was very timing based, and that just didn't occur. That miscommunication,
and that shows a lack of chemistry between DJ Moore and Caleb. And I wonder if they're going to address that in the offseason. But I do want to get back to Ben Johnson just for a brief minute here, because honestly, Ben Johnson deserves most of the blame here. Because if you were to say to any Bears fan like Mitty that they would hold the Rams to 17 points. In the full game. They allowed 10 total points in the first 3 quarters. We were talking about this, Bryant, right? I thought they needed a miracle to stop Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua in this game. And Dennis Allen comes up with the perfect defense, and we'll talk about that later in our preview. And he was able to stifle Stafford. He made him uncomfortable. They weren't clicking at all. It is on Ben Johnson primarily because his play calling was terrible this game. There's a lot.
He ran go for it. He did pass 2 or 3 different times for nothing basically.
You can go for it on 4th down. I get it. It's totally valid, and you can be aggressive. But if you're not trying to convert on third down, then what are you doing? Because every time they had a 3rd and 4, a 3rd and 2, they just ran the ball. And they were trying to set up basically for 4th down to make it easier for them. But it's not working. Like, you can pass on these short downs, right? Because if you're going to pass on 4th down, you can pass on 3rd down. Might as well try to convert now. But it's like he was just giving up the down at that point. It's like when you run on 2nd and long, you're kind of giving up the down at that point. It made no sense to me. And then he was very predictable because their left tackle was out, so he ran right. Like Chris Collinsworth kept mentioning, oh, they're just running right, they're running right. And then the Rams just kept putting a defender on the right side, and they did nothing about it. They just kept running right. And it just was incredibly frustrating. It's just like, is this why they struggle for the first 3 quarters? Because, Ben Johnson doesn't really get it, and then all of a sudden Caleb has to lock in the 4th quarter, and then it just all works. Because it was really baffling in terms of the play calling. I just really didn't like it, and I kind of lost a little bit of respect for Ben Johnson during this game.
It wasn't the best, but I mean, you got to imagine he's going against, the Rams. It's a big moment. He had a great coaching game last week. It happens. Like Sean McVay had a bad coaching game in the Super Bowl. Sometimes you get out coached and it happens. It's just now it's like, that's the last taste you have of the Bears. So next year you got to make it right, and I think they will. I think they're on the right track overall. I would disagree with your last statement there, Matt.
Oh, I mean, I don't think that it's a long-term issue, but I just think it's just a bad game for Ben Johnson.
It's just a bad game. Yeah.
He was treating it too much like business as usual. He has all the cards there, but he had like an injured line, and he was calling some of the runs out there. So just a little bit more adaptability should have been thought of there.
Even we run it left sometimes and Trent's out. I'm just saying. So, but we got to move on here. We're going to go to the Texans now. This is a little bit less of a fun game here. This is honestly the second worst game of the weekend. It's just dysfunctional. It felt like 8 turnovers the entire game. CJ Stroud with 5 of them himself. I think that's just the big question right now. Like, the Texans are eliminated. Great defense. Honestly, the expectations were kind of uneven. We didn't know if they would win the South. I don't think any of us predicted them to win the South. So technically, they got pretty far, and that's impressive of them. But at the same time, you're in CJ Stroud's 4th year now. He's extension eligible. Is there any long-term concern about CJ Stroud given the performance we just saw in the playoffs? Like, combined, I think he had like 8 turnovers in this playoff.
Yeah, I mean, the long-term concerns are there, in my opinion, but I think they're addressable in terms of you got to put a better offensive supporting cast around CJ, especially on the offensive line. They decimated that offensive line in the last couple of years, especially just trading Tunsil last year when it didn't feel like that was necessary at all. That's like the Niners who don't have a good O-line but decided to trade Trent Williams. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. You don't trade the only guy you have, right? So that was a bit stupid and didn't make any sense to me. I'm kind of questioning that decision making there in the front office. Tank Dell's hurt, and obviously that's probably his number 2 since he's gotten there as well. I think you just gotta be consistent in terms of putting the best product out there, and he'll play better. But if you're not going to address this stuff, I am extremely concerned about what I saw this weekend and throughout this whole year and last year from CJ Stroud, that if maybe it just was a flash in the pan where everything was good for that one year and he just can't overcome a little bit of bad, right?
Yeah, definitely agree, especially with the Tank Dell injury, because that almost correlates with these. I think Tank Dell's been basically out the last 2 years, which correlates with Stroud's kind of fall from grace. And I saw some more statistics too. It's like, CJ Stroud only throws to like either the left or the right side of the field. Only throws to one direction of the field, another field is just terrible at. So some development issues there. I mean, I didn't, but I can completely imagine why that was brought up there. So I think a lot of injuries for the Texans, the line being not as strong this year, and then that Tank Dell being gone for a number of different factors that can be corrected. But whoever they hire, I don't think the offensive coordinator was let go or fired, but I think Stroud definitely needs someone else, maybe, just more development there. Just the last couple of years have just been a huge fall from grace.
Yeah, and I think in his rookie year, he was kind of the floor raiser there. Like, they were the second overall pick that year, and then they made the playoffs. They went from worst to first, and that was mostly because of Stroud and, Nico and Tank Dell. And he was able to take a pretty bad Texans offense that had a terrible offensive line and, receivers, and he took them to the playoffs. And I think the front office maybe took that for granted because you're in year 3 of the CJ Stroud era here. He's got the cheap rookie deal, and that's when you want to capitalize. This is why you want to go all in and try to build something around him.
You don't trade your star left tackle.
Yeah, you do the complete opposite. Apparently, it's like you're making cost-cutting moves when you have the rookie contract. This is the time where you need to buy in. And like when you look at the offense that was out there in the Patriots game, no Dalton Schultz. He left in the second quarter or whatever. Nico Collins was out. Basically, everyone was hurt. Like Joe Mixon, we haven't talked about him all season because, he's just not there.
Hey, shout out Joe Mixon.
Good shout out Joe Mixon. I don't know what happened to him, but I hope he's okay. We don't know.
He didn't play at all.
It's weird. It's just very weird of the front office to kind of put him in this situation and not really give him a supporting cast out there. His offensive coordinator, I honestly don't really trust. I don't think they're going to fire him, but he hasn't shown anything to inspire a lot of hope at that point. So I don't think it's a long-term issue with CJ Stroud. The 8 turnovers obviously aren't good, but in the regular season, the Texans only turned it over 13 times the entire season. So I wonder if it's just a playoff thing. I think he was just trying to force it a little bit more, maybe because he just feels that urgency in the playoffs. I don't think it's a long-term thing. Hopefully. He'll have to look at his decision-making, and he'll probably be slandered a lot for it this offseason, so maybe it will motivate him. But I don't see a long-term thing. It's more on the Texans here.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that one. Let's get to the more interesting team of the weekend, huh?
Oh, Buffalo. We're always here, aren't we? We're always here, just like scheduled timing, because I think that last year we had the Pittsburgh Steelers episode in the playoffs, and now it's time for the Buffalo Bills scheduled playoff episode here. Well, they lost again, not in the Super Bowl, in the AFC, this time without Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. All the elite quarterbacks are basically out of this round. And it was a brutal overtime loss, guys. Again, this was another team where they had the ball, they had the opportunity to just score and win the game, right? And Josh Allen throws his, second or third interception. I forget how many turnovers he actually had. I think
he had 4 himself.
One. Yeah.
It's his second pick, but it's 4th turnover.
Yeah. Denver, gets 2 pass interference calls, wins the game with the field goal. There's a lot to break down here. I think first and foremost, there was a lot of excuses, which I didn't like from Sean McDermott.
Always Bill, and exactly why he got fired. Like, we'll get into it, but it's always starts with McDermott at the press conference, crying about the refs, crying about the rules, crying about this, crying about that. And it's like, it just trickles down to the team. It's just a loser mentality that the team has.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that. I was like, this is very not good of a head coach to cry about that stuff, especially when, let's go through it together, guys. Like, there's 3 calls that I think the Bills felt were controversial, right? So the first one, the Cook's catch, which was an interception.
100% an interception. I think anybody that thinks that's a catch is just rooting for the Bills. I was rooting for the Bills. I had money on the Bills, and I really wanted the Bills to win, but there was no shot that was a catch.
He never had full possession of it, didn't survive the ground there. By the time that happened, someone else was holding the ball already. So
then we got to stop the thing where we take a screenshot of a super slowed down thing and look, it's a catch. I hate when they do that in real life, and
they were showing images, and it's like you can't even see the ball from the other angle. See, it was clearly a catch. What the hell are you doing? What the hell is this, bro?
If you can't make the call, slowing it down for sideline catches, corner catches to see if their feet are in, obviously that makes sense. For a catch, if you just run it full speed, it should be obvious if the guy catches the ball or not, right? He at no point did you think that he obviously caught that pass, and he did not have control of the ball. So it's how could that be a catch?
Totally agree with that. Pass interference calls. I thought the first one was a little bit questionable. It was ticky-tack, but I think that you could make the argument that it was PI. The second one was totally PI. The one where
second one was 100% PI.
He crashed out.
Yeah.
Because I was to say the first one, right? I feel like ultimately that didn't even. Assuming we're talking about the right ones, was that the same as Bosa also did the same foul?
Did he do like a roughing the passer or something?
Yeah, he did a roughing the passer.
The same one. Yeah, because like I feel like that one is almost like a non-issue because well, it would have been lost on Bosa being stupid anyway. But yeah,
fair enough.
I could care less, bro. Honestly, complaining about the refs is so stupid to me, especially when it's just a PI call because they're basically holding in PI every play. If you really think about it, if you really want to, be that guy that breaks down film, you want to look at shit slow motion, like go at any play for most of the time. You look in the line, there's a hold, there's a PI, someone's grabbing someone at the corner. Like it happens. It's just the game. Like they called it.
Yeah, and I think ultimately the biggest part of the loss is that you had 5 turnovers, right? You got 1 interception, but when you have a -4 turnover differential here, it's basically impossible. I think like -3 is like 90% chance of losing. -4 is just like 99%. Like you can't do that at that point. And 4 of them are on Josh Allen, right? I think you could make the argument that, the strip sack at the beginning of the second half, that's just a great play by Nick Bonito. But the interception, overthrow, that was terrible. Oh my God! The first half,
the one before halftime. The one before halftime is the exact problem with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. That is poor decision making. That is absolutely Josh Allen at its finest. Trying to do too much and throwing the ball backwards. And then someone had the audacity I saw on Twitter to blame the O-line for not getting the ball. Like, bro, what?
They shouldn't have to, right? It's like
literally
the Texans. It reminded me of that Texans wildcard game. I think he did the exact same thing in that one, where he was trying to throw the ball.
Yeah, he threw the ball over his head backwards.
That was like, oh my God, he just regressed back to 2018. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the 100% the problem. And I think, like I said, the mentality of hey, you're head coach. I understand. You have to keep your star quarterback happy, and you need to be hey, he's the guy here, whatever. Even D'Amico did it about CJ, but he kept it real. He played like shit. He needed to play better in the second half, or they would have benched him, right? But they believed in him, right? That's 100% what I want my coach to say. You can't go there and be I'm standing up for Buffalo. The refs are this, the refs are that. Dude, get out of here, bro. Mm-hmm. They should. And then I know we're going to talk about it, but I'll kind of just get right into it. Obviously McDermott got fired, but how can you not go ahead and then fire Brandon Beane at the same time? It just doesn't make any sense of how you can promote him when that roster is just deprived of wide receivers and any type of talent on the receiving core. And it's your best wide receiver is maybe Brandon Cooks, who you picked up off of waiver wires. Am I supposed to be impressed by that?
Yeah. When I started building the agenda for this podcast, I was going to make the suggestion, fire both McDermott and Brandon Beane. It's weird and a little ironic that McDermott probably got fired for a game that, out of all the Buffalo playoff eliminations, this is probably one where he probably didn't have to take all the blame. Right? Josh Allen probably took the blame for the most of this, right? So,
yeah, but he ended up getting games fired, where you could probably blame McDermott more.
Yeah, and it's not like his defense was amazing in this one either. So, yeah, you can make the case here. And to that, I say, it's still time. You gave it as much as you can, but in the last 9 seasons of Sean McDermott, Buffalo Bills have been 8-8 in the playoffs, 2-6 after the wild card, and in the last 6 years they've had 6 playoff losses, and they've allowed 33 points per game allowed, 29th in defensive success rate, 27th in defensive EPA per play. The defense failed them, and you're calling cards on defense. We can't continue this at this point, even with everything that happened in this game. At the same time, he can't make magic out of everything, right? He's only given the roster he has. And honestly, right now, something stinks in Buffalo here because Brandon Beane came on as Sean McDermott's guy, right? They both were in Carolina together. And then it seems like there's some kind of betrayal here because, it doesn't happen where one guy stays and gets promoted at the same day that this other guy gets fired, right? Something happened here, and I think that Brandon Beane probably sold out his guy, and it's just terrible because I don't know what the owner is doing here, because you look at this roster. We've talked about this roster. We've said it's Josh Allen versus the world. It's basically everything on Josh Allen here. There's nothing here. There's no like good defensive players. The only one I remember is Bosa and Milano. And then the only guy basically on offense is James Cook and Josh Allen. I don't think the Bills have drafted any other Pro Bowlers other than maybe James Cook and one other guy since Brandon Beane was hired. I don't even know who the rookies are on this team right now.
Yeah, that Keon Coleman pick was terrible. That was an atrocious pick.
That was a joke. I think it's definitely within the last couple of years. They've drafted some decentish players, maybe like 5 years ago.
Well, they also traded their first round pick a couple of years ago for Stephon Diggs, which worked, and then they also fucked that off eventually. So,
Yeah. I mean, they just fallen off a cliff more recently in terms of getting good talent from the drafts.
Yeah. I just think it's like, you kind of mentioned it, like, you're a defensive coach, your defense just got cooked by Bo Nix. You're supposed to be a world beater quarterback. You turned the ball over 4 times. You're a top 5 running back, James Cook. You fumble the ball the most in the NFL. And it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe the talent wasn't the greatest, but like, there also just is a problem of the guys on the field are not getting it done. We talked about this game last week before we made our predictions, right? No one was saying like, hey, dude, the Broncos are going to win because they just have so much more offensive talent, or they're just not enough offensive talent for the Bills, right? I think we all, agreed, and maybe I'm mistaken, but we picked the Bills. So it's like, we all kind of thought the same thing, right? They have enough talent to win. So I get not firing Beane in that sense, because like the people are there. The players you just need to play well. They just don't. So is that really a GM problem or a coaching problem?
I disagree. I can't say that this roster was good enough. I said it was just because of Josh Allen. I thought Josh Allen would be able to carry this.
Yes, but that's the whole point. When you have Josh Allen, you're paying him $60 million. Right? Yeah. Like, you got to have guys that are not good at a certain position. That's just bound to happen. Like, that is a part of the game, right? Like the CJ Stroud. Why do we think it's so important to win right now? Because they have to gut the roster once they pay him. The Bills had to gut the roster to pay Allen. They're not going to be perfect. Why do we think still that even though we know they're not perfect, they're still great? It's because of Josh Allen. So Josh Allen's got to do his part of it.
Yes, and I agree with that. But you do have to have a GM that can acquire cheap talent, right? The Chiefs were able to win 2 more Super Bowls after trading Tyreek Hill because they got cheap defensive talent in the draft, and they reloaded really quickly.
That is fair.
I mean, Stafford, he's got Puka, right, in the 5th round. So you have to find talent at a certain point. I'm just saying, like, I don't have any faith in the direction that the Bills are doing this, because if you cleared everybody out, I would have been like, okay, it looks like a new era. They're going to reload with Josh Allen. They got the potential. But if you're keeping that GM there, it just worries me that you haven't solved the problem. There's a cancer still in there, and he's going to keep on fucking off and making the same things, because now he's just unfettered. Now he's the president of football operations. So now he's just going to go unchecked here, and he's going to do whatever he wants. And I'm not inspired by that. And I'm not inspired that he can make the pick for coach and, for the players. I would be. I think
the only thing that redeems him is if they get an A+ coach hire, and I don't know what that looks like right now. Like, what is an A+ coach hire with the coaches available? I just think that's hard to find, but that's the only redeeming possibility for the Bills.
It's funny because I honestly thought John Harbaugh would be a good coaching candidate for this team.
I bet you he thinks to himself, like, damn, I probably should have waited.
Damn.
He wants to rip up that contract or find a clause to get out of it.
Is the ink dry? As it says, is the ink dry yet? Can I still take the car back?
What if they bring in like McDaniels? Just the same division, freaking McDaniels.
Can't do Josh McDaniels again.
No, I think he meant Mike.
Oh, he's taken. So probably not.
Oh, that's true.
Not officially. Not officially. I looked a little bit more into the Mike McDaniels thing, and I don't think anybody cares. But by the time this comes out, he'll probably be hired. He's still waiting for head coaching opportunities before he takes the Chargers OC job.
Okay. Maybe the Raiders then. All right.
Maybe the Raiders. You'll get your wish, Matt.
Yeah. Do you want a defensive hire or an offensive hire for this team?
Me personally, I don't think it makes a difference. I know that sounds stupid, but it's just about the person that's getting hired. If you're telling me, Matt, I got an offensive coach and then it's Matt Nagy, like, yeah, I'm so good off that. But if it's a defensive guy, you got me Brian Flores, like, I wouldn't be too upset with that. Like, their defense needs help. Because that's what happens. Remember, big playoff losses, not Super Bowl, but every other game that they lost to the Chiefs, the Bengals game, they get torched on defense. So maybe getting a guy that has a new scheme can bring some talent to that defense. I can see that be pretty helpful.
Yeah, just whoever could work well. I think was ultimately just Josh Allen, right? The cornerstone of your whole franchise. You've gone all in all. Whoever at least can work well was him, I think.
Yeah.
The rest will come.
I think I would lean defensive so they can fix up that defense. I trust Josh Allen with the offense a little bit more, considering the garbage he already has there. Joe Brady,
just honestly, fine.
Joe Brady, I think, could be a dark horse to be elevated if they can't find anyone. And I honestly think he's a good coach as well. So
I think he could just stay as OC though, like not needing that much change. If you're bringing Brian Flores in to be the head coach, because then you could kind of let Brady focus on just working with Allen, right?
I'd want to keep Joe Brady probably around. And I know Buffalo fans always hate the OC. Everyone hates the OC that they have. But he did pretty damn well against Denver. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I honestly think he's pretty good there. He could be a dark horse for sure. But I don't know. We'll see. I saw Dable. They said if Dable comes back to Buffalo, I was like, That's really cool. Don't see it. I can't.
I like it, but then it's it's just the same culture. It feels like to me,
It's not helpful.
It's not a new phrase. Now you got an old OC with the same GM / player personnel, whatever the hell he is now. It is basically the same thing.
Yeah. Well, that was our divisional round reactions. Lots to talk about. It's crazy because honestly, this time of year is so much to talk about. We're not even going to talk about the head coaching carousel right now. Too much there. We'd be here for 2 hours. So let's just go to the conference championship previews. 2 games left. Like we said, guys, let's dive into it. Let's go to the AFC championship here. The New England Patriots, the 2nd seed, are going to go to Denver to face the 1st seed Denver Broncos. This is the 3rd time these teams have faced off in the AFC championship in this century alone. And the Broncos won both of those games, the 2013 AFC championship and the 2015 AFC championship, both against Brady. This is the Manning Brady kind of rivalry. Now we got the Drake May, Jarrett Stidham championship here. I mean, let's just start there because I think the biggest storyline out of this entire game is going to be that Bo Nix, he broke a bone in his ankle in the second to last play of that overtime win against the Bills, and he's going to be out for the season. That's over. Jarrett Stidham's going to be the starter now going forward. He has to win 2 games, and Jarrett Stidham has only started 4 total games in his entire NFL career, and that is the least ever by a quarterback who has started in the conference championship. I believe Jeff Hostetler, who was with the Giant, he had 5 at that point. So, very inexperienced quarterback. The craziest thing is that you don't even have confidence that Jarrett Stidham can play well with the Broncos and win, because typically when you get an injury like that, right, the backup quarterback comes in and plays the rest of the game and then he wins it. And maybe you have a little bit of confidence there, right? No, because Bo Nix broke that ankle in the last play of the game. You didn't even see basically Jarrett Stidham at all. And Sean Payton didn't play his backups in week 18. So you have not seen this guy in a game. And I think that's the most concerning thing for Denver. Is I don't know how to have any confidence in him at this point.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. This guy, he's clearly going to be the next Nick Foles. It's over for the Patriots. No, but I think the thing with these backups, when you see those backups that suddenly they come in and they have a fantastic game, like guys like Nick Mullins,
Brock Purdy,
all those random Jets, Brock Purdy, those random Jets quarterbacks like Mike White. They always have that one good game. Because there's a chance, right? You don't have any footage on this guy. You have no clue how he's going to be out there. Maybe he could surprise people, put a good game together. I don't think that's happening with Stidham. Kind of just gut instinct. I just don't see it. That's going to just blossom out of nowhere for him. He's those career backup types. I don't think he was that spectacular out of college too. So I don't know. I just don't feel it with this particular backup quarterback here.
I mean, I think I remember
he's still competent. Sean Payton loves him, right? The whole thing
he also loves Taysom Hill. So
yeah, Taysom Hill is a GOAT, future Hall of Famer, one of one.
Fantasy.
Yeah, but handpicked Stidham to be his backup quarterback. And he's been saying that, I think that there's 2 quarterbacks starting on my roster, So I don't know. Maybe, Sean Payton is kind of full of himself. So I'm sure he's just saying that. But I don't know. I think it's cooked. You can't win with Stidham, man.
I remember he carved up the Niners a couple years ago. That was like D'Amico Ryan's defense. He did well. He surprised the Niners, and he almost won that game. I'll give him that. At the same time, if you're Sean Payton, like imagine you're Sean Payton for a moment. You're going to do his job for him. He's listening to this podcast. How would you kind of help Jarrett Stidham win this game? What are you doing for Jarrett Stidham to make him feel like he can do this? Or like just the Denver offense in general? I think that's the important question.
You don't look in the direction of Denver offense, and you tell your defense to gamble on every play and force turnovers so it gives your offense a chance. Clearly, that's the only way that's going to work.
Yeah, but also I think they're getting Dobbins back this week, so, run game has to be insanely effective this week. I don't know if that's going to be possible because if I were the Patriots, you're stacking box till Stidham beats you, but
yeah,
I don't know.
not a lot of
I don't know what to tell you, Matt. I don't know what to tell you.
Because usually it's okay, is there something is there some weakness of the opposing team? Well, the Patriots have been fairly confident, both sides of the ball there. And it's like, okay, if it's, a quarterback hasn't played as much, you give him something easy to toss to your running backs, to your tight ends out there. Evan Engram has been the bust for tight ends this whole year out there. And then, the running back room is just getting healthy out there, but that's probably going to be snuffed out by a decent Vrabel defense. So, it's just hard to find those silver linings for them to exploit.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I couldn't come up with the answer either. That's why I was asking you guys. I think you can play it 2 ways. One, you can play it super conservative, try to get some easy completions and hope that the Patriots won't. They'll try to basically take everything away that's not easy and, just allow those little short completions and give him some momentum there. Or 2, you just go super aggressive super early and you just take a couple deep shots and make him feel afraid for a little bit. Both of them kind of depends on how you think New England's going to play you, right? If you think New England's going to play you conservative, then maybe you take those deep shots. But I mean, you could have had a worse coordinator in Sean Payton to be able to coach this game. So you would have faith in Sean Payton at least. But it's going to be a
low-scoring game. So, how many points do you really think he needs Stidham to go out there and get? Hoping the defense gets some short fields, some field goals are good. All that stuff is going to be there. You need me like 2 touchdowns, maybe 3 touchdowns.
I think it'll be harder than they think. I think the Patriots defense we've always said it's an easy schedule. They look legitimately good right now. That defense, there's not a lot of knowable star names out there, but they are very, very good right now. And they're all in sync. They're all they just understand what they're doing out there. And they're just confusing the hell out of quarterbacks. Justin Herbert and CJ Stroud, they just basically just abused the hell out of them. And I know they haven't been the best offenses, but it's not like Denver is going to be one of the best offenses either here. So I think they're a very underrated defense. They are still a top 10 defense. We just kind of discounted them because of the easy schedule. So, let's flip sides to the other side of the ball here. Patriots offense versus the Denver defense. One thing that I want to point out with the Patriots and what I would suggest to Josh McDaniels, because I'm going to give coaching advice to him, is that with Joe Brady, and I said that he had a great game, he did a lot of stuff. I could see the game plan very easily, which is he made Denver go sideline to sideline, and they just couldn't do it. They kept motioning guys from the outside inside and then pushing them back outside. And they were getting these huge gains, basically. Josh Allen was just exploiting sideline to sideline. There was this pass to James Cook, and then Cook just took it down the sideline all the way because Denver is so condensed and they weren't able to kind of defend it. And they kept making those condensed formations. The Mecole Hardman touchdown, he goes inside and then he goes back outside. A little bit reminiscent, unfortunately, of the Super Bowl game with the Chiefs. But he just plays them on the outside. And if you're New England, you want to replicate that because it didn't look like Vance Joseph had a very good adjustment to it. He probably will this week. But if I was New England, I'd attack that early. I'd condense the formation and then go out wide and attack the sidelines. Make Denver go sideline to sideline to beat you and just test it out. And on the Patriots as well, you gotta make sure Drake May stops fumbling. He keeps fumbling.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from. Like, I know, he does. I don't want to get into the hand size because it's not the draft combine time, but he has smaller hands, but it's not been a problem until the playoffs. So I don't know if his hands are a little shaky during the playoffs or something. Like,
no, he has the most fumble in the NFL. I think they put up that stat in like CBS. He had the most fumbles in the NFL this year. I noticed it a couple times when I was watching him in fantasy, but it's been a lot. It's been 6 already in 2 games.
That's a lot. That's very concerning.
Yeah, and like one of them's in the rain. Okay, I'll give him a little bit of that. But the Denver defense, they lead the league in sacks. Nick Bonito is coming off that edge, and he just got Josh Allen twice, right?
Yeah, he's gonna get May. May takes way too many sacks as well.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of quarterbacks for some reason have the title of have had a lot of fumbles this year. But I guess May's number 1 for it. But yeah, I feel like in terms of the Patriots should do there, right? Get a lot of out of like more of your wide receivers, guys like Keyshawn Moody there, Stephon Diggs. Because I noticed in that Broncos game, like Hufanga, right, their safety was struggling. He was missing tackles, not stopping guys, right, as Matt mentioned, along the sidelines there. So just exploiting, that secondary as much as you can there, targeting a wide receiver. I think that's probably their path to success.
Yeah, I don't know how much motion the Patriots actually do. But again, yeah, I would emphasize attacking them on the outside, sideline to sideline. Booty is great, but obviously one of them is going to get the Surtain assignment. So the other one's got to be able to attack. Hufanga, we know from our Niner days, he always bites on the play action fake. So I'd try to beat him deep there. And Denver's defense, they've been penalized the most in pass interferences this season. So you could draw a couple of them probably on this team. So let's predict this game here. What do you guys think?
I don't think it's going to be too close. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do with this Broncos team with
You're calling a blowout?
I'm not calling a blowout because the defense is too good. That's like the next best thing, right? I would say Patriots 27, maybe Broncos like 18, like 6 field goals.
6 field goals. Could be a really ugly one. I'm looking a little bit in the Broncos' favor. Okay. The only way Broncos wins if they call and make this a very ugly defensive slugfest of a game. But I feel like even if that happens, Patriots will eke out the victory there. So I have them winning 17-16 Patriots.
This is going to be a blowout. 24-10 Patriots. I don't see it. Denver wasn't that impressive last week against the Bills. I thought the Bills offense did a lot better than I thought they would against this Denver defense. They scored 30 on them with, again, the garbage offense that we were talking about with Josh Allen and 5 turnovers. If the Patriots can just clean that up a little bit and they don't have to play in terrible weather here, I feel like they can score on this team. And, I don't trust Jared Stidham against that Patriots defense. It's a very tough defense. I think that the Patriots are going to win in a rout. It's going to be the 3rd boring game that the Patriots play on the way to the boring Super Bowl.
They're going to board their way all the way to Santa Clara, man, all the way to San Francisco. That sucks.
Yeah, unlucky for us as viewers. I think we're getting hoed the most.
Well, let's go to the NFC Championship. It is the Los Angeles Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks, 2 NFC West rivals going at it for the 3rd time this season. Let's just briefly talk about the 2 times that they faced off. They were both very dramatic. Week 11, it was a 21-19 Rams win in LA. Sam Darnold had 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and I think they basically kicked field goals the entirety of the game, except for the last seconds of the game. Jason Myers missed the 50-something yard field goal, and they lost by 2. Very tough for the Seahawks, but then they bounced back in Week 16 on Thursday Night Football, when they won in overtime 38-37. They came back from like 3 scores down to tie the game. They got a Rashid Shaheed punt return touchdown. Then they got Zach Charbonnet 2-point conversion. That was kind of odd there. And then they tied it. They won it in overtime. They went for 2, and they got Eric Saubert catch to win it. Sam Darnold, he also had 2 interceptions in that game, but he also had 2 touchdowns. But big note there, no Devontae Adams in this one. So basically a margin of 3 decided the both of these matchups. And I mean, let's start off with this. As a 49ers fan, Bryant, this is kind of like Hitler versus Stalin here. So I don't even know who I would root for in this case. I'm still struggling at this point. Like, I don't even really want to watch this game.
It's awful, and I hate to do it, and I do this every single time. I clearly would support the Seahawks there for the one reason is they are literally USC University. They got Sam Darnold at quarterback. They got Leonard Williams, Uchenna Nwosu. Hell, their backup running back is freaking Bayless Jones. I saw him for 3 years play out there. You also have Brandon Pili. They have like 5 USC guys on that team. So for me, I'm gonna have to make my bed with the Seahawks there.
It's disgusting, man.
Yeah, that's just terrible, man. Oh my God.
Hey man, I got my college pride.
I am gonna go with nobody. I hate both these teams, and I don't care. I am not going to say on recording that I'm rooting for either one of them. This is disgusting right here.
You're not rooting, but you do have to make a prediction, bro.
And I will, but that will be based off my brain and not my heart. So I will make a prediction on who wins, but I'm not going to... It might not be the team I'm rooting for here. So...
Yeah, I'm going to go here with the Seahawks as well, actually. Surprisingly, I think Darnold will have a good game, man. I think he's due for one. Niners kind of got ugly quick and didn't need to do too much, but I think last time he played the Rams, he kind of conquered some demons with that overtime victory. So I think that's huge for terms of just player confidence, having to win like that under your belt. And I think it would have been similar to that if he could have beat the Lions last year, right? Going into the end of the year, they couldn't. And it's just like that kind of looms over your head. He knows I've beaten everybody there is to beat. Like the road ahead of me is just me stopping myself at this point. Can I beat the Rams? Easily, you can beat the Rams. You've beaten them before. Whoever comes out the AFC, I think their team is going to be better than that. So I think if Sam Darnold wants to prove everybody wrong, this is a great game to do so. I think he will. He has everything going for him. JSN had a kind of quiet game. I think he's going to have a huge game. It's going to be a great game, but I'm going to go Seahawks 34, Rams 31.
Ooh.
I'm right there with you. I got 34-28 Seahawks there. I think Seahawks hold them on Stafford trying a game-winning drive out there. I mean, Seahawks pull up that stop, so.
Jesus. Just a little bit about the game here. I think it comes down to pressure, right? We all know what Sam Darnold is afraid of, and it's pressure.
Ghost?
It's ghosts. He sees ghosts out there after pressure, right? And I think it's the same thing. Like I said last time in the prediction when the Niners couldn't win, I said it was about pressure and the Niners couldn't pressure Darnold, and that was the case. You saw a couple times with, I think we got 2 sacks surprisingly on Sam Darnold, which is probably more than we had the entire season. And in those 2 sacks, he kind of got a little rattled, but then he was able to find his composure. But I think that if the Rams want to win this game, blitz the hell out of Sam Darnold, and you make him, first of all, you try to make him pass because the Seahawks run at an incredible rate. But now they don't have Zach Charbonnet. So if you can stop Kenneth Walker, force Sam Darnold to throw, and you pressure the hell out of him, then maybe you have a chance at stopping that offense.
My thing has been that the Rams defense, I give them, they played good against the Bears, but I think a lot of that had to do with weather conditions, and I just don't believe in the Rams defense as much as the next person anymore, especially in that back half of the regular season. They kind of fell off to me, and they didn't really look all that special. They got turnovers last week, but they weren't anything special against the Panthers. Bryce Young looked just fine, just super comfortable. I don't know. I think Sam Darnold's not going to face the pressure you're talking about, right? Obviously, every team wants to, scheme up pressure and get pressure, but actually applying it is what the difficult part is. Yeah. So if they're not going to be able to get there, Sam Darnold, whether he has just Ken Walker or whoever else, he's going to be comfortable, and then you get that play action going. I think it's easy pickings for him.
Yeah, I'd be concerned because the Rams have not played a complete game yet, and they haven't for like the last 6 games, right? Ever since that probably lost to Seattle, they haven't really been able to kind of show why they're the Super Bowl contenders. I think we kind of prematurely labeled that, but they've had difficult, a loss against Atlanta. They had a difficult win against Arizona. Then they had 2 shaky wins against the Bears and the Panthers, both of which were one possession, even though we thought they would probably be blowouts on paper. And that has to do with the defense. They've been shaky, as you said, G. It also has to do with the offense, right? I think we're starting to see some cracks in this offense. It was showing in the Panthers game when they just started. Elijah Evero was just saying, fuck it, let's just blitz and see what happens. And he rattled Stafford. He actually rattled Stafford for like a quarter and a half there. And then he was able to lock in. But then Dennis Allen did the exact same thing. And he said, okay, let's do a DB blitz, basically, off the edge every single time. And basically, up until that fourth quarter, Stafford against the DB blitz had 3 sacks, which, Stafford rarely ever takes sacks. No completions. Didn't have a single completion against the blitz. He only got it in overtime once to Puka Nacua because Dennis Allen, for some reason, played everybody else off in the secondary and blitz, which is really stupid. I don't really understand that. And that was the only completion he got that was critical. And the Seahawks don't blitz. They rush 4 and they put everyone else back and they match covered. If the Seahawks want to blitz, it'll be interesting. Can the Seahawks get pressure with 4 on Stafford, or will they bring the blitz as well? And I think that's going to be the key to the game. And I think that whoever turns the ball over more in this game, it gets so down to the margin where whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win this game, right? Stafford, I don't know if he's thrown a pick yet. I think he has. He's done 1 in Carolina.
Definitely has at least 1.
Yeah.
These playoffs.
Sam Darnold, obviously he hasn't, but he's already had 6 in the 2 matchups in Seattle against the Rams. So I think it's really going to be that close.
You guys don't think that the end of that last Rams game was important as I'm making it sound, though? Him taking that game to overtime and winning it, that has to build some type of confidence. I can beat these guys. And now you're back in Seattle. Obviously, you're the 1 seed.
Yeah, no, I think that and the fact that he finally won a playoff game is going to give Sam Darnold confidence, right?
Yeah.
That's why I think it's more on even paper than usual, because if not, I would say Sam Darnold will crumble like a piñata. I think the onus is a little bit more on Stafford at this point, because the pressure's on Stafford. He hasn't shown his best yet. And now you have to be confident. Are you confident that you can show your best at this point?
Stafford has shown his best when he has needed to, right? I think we don't give him enough credit for the last game against, the Bears too. Towards the end, he did everything he needed to get them to a winning position. I think the biggest thing maybe, I don't know how big of an issue, I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are, is the Zach Charbonnet injury, Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker have been at 1-2, if not the 1-1 really, this whole season. I feel that's been a big part of Seahawks game plan there. And how much is that going to be an X factor to the loss of Charbonnet?
I wonder if it psychs him out of the run. Clint Kubiak loves to run the ball. They run it at a top 5 rate. And that's just because they rotate between Charbonnet and Walker. But if you get rid of Charbonnet, and do you want to put the whole workload on Kenneth Walker? Can he handle it? He probably can, but I wonder if Clint Kubiak will play the mind games on himself and not run it. And then at the same time, McVay, he didn't run the ball very well in the first 3 quarters. And it's he didn't want to run the ball. He kept dropping back. Will you run the ball this time against Seattle? I think McVay was psyching himself out in that game against Chicago. Will he be able to lock in, and will he be able to he's broken down the Seattle defense twice. No one scores 37 points on Seattle. He did it.
That is a great point. He has figured out the Mike McDonald famous defense.
Yeah. And Puka, he had 200 yards and 2 touchdowns and ruined people's fantasy football playoffs. So if there's anyone who can beat the Seattle team at this point, I think it's the Rams. That's why I will go over and lean 29-28 Rams. I think Seattle has the better team. Sometimes you run into kryptonite, though. And because you guys are going Seattle as well, I'll go with the Rams and give us some diversity here.
I appreciate it, man. That's going to save us from completely stinking out.
I fucking hate both these teams, though. Why did it have to be like this? It didn't have.
Why did it have to be in Santa Clara this year of all Super Bowls?
I'm gonna have to
in
watch
our backyard.
I'm gonna have to watch a divisional rival on our turf for a chance to win the Super Bowl, and that already stinks.
Most likely the Patriots of all teams, but
I don't really care about that. If Drake May can do that, or if Jarrett Stidham can do that, I don't care what team you put a jersey on. It can be the Eagles, whatever. Beat our division rivals.
Yes. Sorry, Matt's really going through hell right now.
You have no idea. But that is it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you can follow along on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow our Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Sports_Counsel. Link is in the bio for all of those, to our Discord. Join the community there and definitely check it out and chat along with us. But 2 more games left in the season. Should be fun. Super Bowl is coming. We might have something special planned for the Super Bowl. It is in our backyard after all. So stay tuned for that.
Hey man, you guys enjoy. We'll see you soon.
See ya.